Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really profound teaching from the Bhagavad Gita. It tackles one of the biggest questions we all face in our lives. You know the feeling, right? We all do. We try so hard to build a happy life. We make plans, we put in the effort, and yet somehow suffering still finds its way in. It's this huge riddle. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack the Gita's perspective on why this happens, and maybe more importantly, what it suggests is the way out. All right, so first things first. Before you can find a solution, you really have to understand the problem. So we're going to start by looking at how the Gita diagnoses the situation. What it says is the real reason we suffer. Now, right off the bat, the Gita does something kind of radical. It says our pain doesn't actually come from the outside world, bad luck or what other people do. The root cause, it says, is inside us. It's a massive misunderstanding of what reality even is. Okay, so what is this misunderstanding? Well, the Gita gives it a name, and it's a big one, Maya. Let's dig into what this divine illusion is and how it kind of keeps us stuck. So this concept is called Maya. You can think of it as this incredible divine illusion that God creates. It's the very fabric of the reality we see, taste, and touch. Now, the text says it's made of 3 modes of nature, which is a whole other deep dive. But the main thing to get here is that this illusion, this Maya, is super powerful and really, really hard to see past. Okay, so this lays out the whole chain of events, like a series of dominoes. Let's walk through it. It starts with this huge idea. God is the stuff the universe is made of. So everything is God. Simple enough, right? But we don't see this because of our attachments. And what are attachments? They're just our really strong likes and dislikes. That creates delusion, a fog that keeps us from seeing the world for what it is. And that delusion, it leads to ignorance. And there you have it, the final domino. That ignorance is the root cause of all our suffering. It's a complete system, from the cosmos right down to our own hearts. This can be a little tough to wrap your head around, so the text gives us this brilliant analogy. Think of it like this. God is the author of a grand story, and we are the characters living inside it. As characters, we're bound by the rules of the story. We can't just decide to jump off the page or rewrite the plot. So that leads to a pretty big question. How do we get free? And that question is the perfect pivot from the problem to the solution. The Gita doesn't just leave us stuck in the trap. It actually shows us the key to get out. And that key is the path of surrender. This is the big paradox, isn't it? If our own minds, our own efforts, are all part of the illusion, part of the script, how can we ever use them to break free? It's like trying to pull yourself out of quicksand by your own hair. It seems impossible, but the answer the Gita gives is shockingly simple. And here it is. This is the money shot, right from verse 714. Lord Krishna starts by saying, "Yup, this divine Maya of mine is difficult to overcome." He's acknowledging how hard it is. But then you get that all-important word, but. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Wow. The answer isn't to fight harder. Against the story, it's to surrender to the author. And here you can see the 2 paths laid out side by side. It's such a stark contrast. On one side, you have self-effort. You're working hard, you're struggling, you're fighting against the illusion. The text says that's a battle you just can't win on your own. But on the other side, you have surrender. And notice, you're not surrendering to the illusion. You're surrendering to the master of the illusion. And that, we're told, is how you can easily cross beyond it. Now, we have to be super clear here. Surrender doesn't mean just giving up or becoming a doormat, not at all. It's an active, massive shift in how you see everything. It's the deep, gut-level realization that everything happening, the good, the bad, the boring, is all unfolding because of a divine will. It's seeing every moment, every conversation as an interaction directly with that divine presence. So what happens when you actually start to live like that? What's the payoff? Well, this final section of our explainer looks at the direct result of this kind of surrender, a state of liberation, especially liberation from fear. And check this out. This is the beautiful part. Look how this completely reverses that chain of suffering we talked about earlier. When you truly feel that everything is part of a divine plan, what's there to be afraid of? Suddenly, there's no room for fear or anxiety. Your intense likes and dislikes start to chill out, and when that happens, your attachments loosen their grip, and with a clearer mind, you can finally see the truth. It undoes the whole knot. So, to bring it all home, the whole thing really hangs on this one critical idea. We can't outfight the illusion. We can't outthink it because we're inside of it. But by surrendering to the one who is the master of the illusion, the author of the story, we're no longer trapped by the script. We're free from its clutches. And I'll just leave you with this final thought to noodle on. You know, our world tells us to fight, to struggle, to hustle for everything. But this ancient teaching asks a really provocative question. What if our greatest strength isn't found in fighting the river of life, but in learning how to gracefully surrender to its flow?